So welcome back to our second case study. And our question is, in irrigation terms, we speak about the length of time that we have to water the golf course from dusk until dawn, or from when the golfers leave until the crew arrives in the morning, as the water window. Irrigation systems are generally designed to irrigate the entire golf course within this window. This means the size of the pipes and pump station have to be engineered to accomplish this task. Can you find the amount of time that it takes to water the entire golf course for the default runtime of 10 minutes? Alright, so to do this, first thing we have to do is create programs. So we're going to go to the Programs tab, and we have all of our programs built, but we need to create a new one. So to do that, we're going to select the green cue, and we'll name it, we'll rename it to Back Rough, and we'll give it a start time of 10 p.m. Alright, so then we're going to select the back 9 holes and all the rough, which is the bottom left corner. And we'll push OK. And there we go, we have the back 9 rough set up. We also need to delete program number 8, which is the blank one. So just click on program 8 and hit delete, the red X at the top, and yes. Alright, now that we have all of our irrigation set up to run at 10 o'clock tonight, we're going to close this window and go do a dry run. So we'll click the dry run tab at the top, and we'll click the play in the left hand corner of the window, the top left. And we'll wait for the dry run to run. And as we can see, our irrigation ran from 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. And that's how long it took us to run, with a default runtime of 10 minutes for each station. As you can see in the top right corner of this chart, you can see the total amount of water you put out on the golf course. For a more detailed look of your irrigation, you'll use the third tab at the very top of the menu. By clicking that, you can see when all of your programs started running. So all of our programs started at 10 p.m. and it also shows you when the last one finished, which was 4:02 a.m. So that's a 6-hour and 2-minute runtime. It also says irrigation completed right at the very bottom, so you know that all your programs ran and everything finished. Alright, so for the second question of our case study, we're looking at what will happen if we increase our default runtimes to more than 10 minutes, starting our irrigation at 10 o'clock. And to do this, to increase our overall runtime, we're going to click the raindrop at the top of the screen, and we will increase it to 200%, which will give us a 20-minute runtime. The reason for this is because at 100%, our default runtime is 10 minutes, so at 200%, our default runtime is 20 minutes. So as you can see, there's 200% at the top right by the raindrop, and now we'll go do a dry run. So we'll click dry run, and we have our graph showing that we're going to start at 9, which is just when the graph will start showing information, and our stop time is 7 a.m. because that's when our first tee time is. So we'll click the play button in the top left corner, and we'll let our graph populate. And as you can see, it started running at 10 and it shut off at 7. And for more information, we'll click the third from the right to make sure everything ran. Alright, so as we can see, all of our programs started at 10 o'clock like we wanted, but not all of them finished. So at the very bottom it says irrigation incomplete. So for more information, we're going to use the fourth tab over, which will show us how long each of our stations on the course ran for. And as we can see throughout, we have a bunch of zeros in the rough section, and just in the rough section where stations didn't run. And so we know that these areas on the golf course didn't get any water last night because our irrigation system was told to shut off at 7 o'clock. Alright, so the third question we have with this case study is, what is the maximum amount of time that the sprinklers can run on your golf course in your water window between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. And to figure this out, we did a bunch of trial and error by doing dry runs, and we figured out that the maximum amount of time we can run our sprinklers is 14 minutes or 140% of our water budget. So we'll click the range off at the top, and we'll switch it to 140%. And then we will go do a dry run, starting at 9 p.m. and ending at 7 a.m. We'll click the play button. It'll run. And then we'll go look at our third tab over for more information. And as we can see, all of our programs started at 10 o'clock. And they all finished before 7 a.m. And at the bottom it says irrigation completed, so we know everything ran. We can also go look at each individual station to ensure they all ran by clicking the fourth tab. And as we can see, all of our programs that we had set to run ran for 14 minutes, and they fit within our water window.
So now that we know that we have a limited amount of time to water overnight before golfers show up in the morning, those pesky golfers, we realized that we should try to start a little bit earlier in the evening so that we can have more space to water extra if it's needed. So how to do that, you're going to go ahead and go to your programs, and we have our lovely programs all set up, and we're going to change the start time. So we're going to change this guy to 8:15. There we go. So each hole should take around 15 minutes to play at the latest, especially considering that tee time starting at 8 o'clock. We'll have to be off the course by 10. So they only have 2 hours to finish all 9 holes, and 15 minutes is a safe number that we can let them know before their round. The course will start irrigating at 8:15 on the first hole, and they should be through it. So this way, once we go through this, if we can jump ahead after we're done typing this in, that is when they will begin to irrigate. Now progressively, we'll need to go into the schedules, and so if we leave it like this, all of the golf course is going to start irrigating at 8:15, just like it did at 10. But obviously we don't want to do that because there will still be people on the rest of the golf course. In this case scenario, we have a back 9 and a front 9 start. So we're going to go ahead and take hole number 1, and we're going to leave it like that because we do want that hole to start irrigating at 8:15. Hole number 2, on the other hand, we can go ahead and put 8:30 in there. And now it won't start until 8:30. Next one, 8:45. One after that, 9 o'clock, and so on and so forth, increasing by 15 minutes each hole. At the end of this, we'll be able to start irrigating the front 9, the beginning of the front 9 and the beginning of the back 9, while people are golfing on the end of the back 9. This will lengthen our water window and allow us to get more irrigated in less time. And we'll notice here at the end, 10 o'clock is when everyone will be off the golf course, and so we can just go ahead and water everything at 10 o'clock. So the first one we'll check the original start time, and at 8:15, this program will begin to look for start times. Hole number 1 doesn't have a start time, it'll start at 8:15, but this will restrict that start time to 8:30, and so on and so forth. And that's how you set up stepped irrigation start times. In the interest of time, we quickly put all of these start times through our entire program. So this way, you don't have to watch us do it. And it's all set to go for the dry run. So if we come up here to the dry run, go ahead and start her a little bit earlier now. Now that we have stuff irrigating at 8:15, we'll start at 8, still end it at 7. And make sure that this is back down to 100 as well. Okay. We'll go ahead and play and enjoy the graph. It's beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, there we go. So we're all done. go into our analytics again, and we'll see that the irrigation has been completed. Everything got irrigated. Everything has got irrigated for the 10 minutes. And if we come back to the graph, we'll be able to see the different things that start. So as you can see right here, only holes number 1 and 10 are actually being irrigated. And as we progress forward, you can see how that increases and changes as the holes go. As you can see here, holes 1, 2, 3, and 10 and 11 are going. So that's how you set up progressive irrigation and make sure that it works properly. And we're going to go ahead and look at how long that's going to take us. As you can see here, our irrigation that started a little bit earlier ended up finishing up at 2:22. That means we got lots of time, unlike the original start time at 10 o'clock, to irrigate double if we need to. So now we're going to go ahead and see how long that will take, our maximum amount of runtime in this window. So we come back up here and increase it to 200%. Do another dry run. We can also extend the end time because we know that there will only be golfers if they're starting at 7 o'clock on the first several holes. So that way, if the last holes are still being irrigated at 8 o'clock, that's almost always going to be okay. So we'll go ahead and start that. Get another beautiful graph. As you can see, it goes much later. We'll take a look here. The entire irrigation was completed, and it finished up at 8:32. Now, I think it is important as well to take a look at which holes were being irrigated that late. Otherwise, if it's one of the first few holes, then it would be important to make sure we change that so that there are no golfers getting wet. So as you can see, at 7:20, we only have holes 16, 17, and 18 being irrigated. And the earlier holes at 7:03 here, we can see that holes number 5 and 7 are being irrigated. While that's after the start time, obviously nobody's going to be golfing on hole 5 at 7 o'clock. That's much too late for a 7 o'clock start time. So we know that we can actually irrigate 200% if we are smart about when we start our irrigation. This is a great tool that allows us to make really specific programs that give us full control to irrigate as much as we need to. We thank Rainbird for that. I think that's all we have today. Thank you for watching.